welcome back to Mouthing Off with Mike, the only wrestling podcast that turned in his badge after seeing what the Wyatt Sicks group did on Monday Night Raw. Now, if you're not aware, I did a whole Uncle Howdy breakdown about a month and a half ago with this same man that you see here and you hear with your very ears and your eyes. You see, he goes by the name of Top Notch. That's my main man, Dyson Bennett. I had to call him up. He's the resident expert on all things Uncle Howdy. Wyatt Sicks, how we doing today, my main man?
I'm doing good, man. Excited. I'm ready to break this stuff down. You already know, like you just said, Top Notch, number one Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy fan, Wyatt family, Wyatt universe, all of it. I love it all. So I've been there since day one. I'm ready to break this stuff down.
Now that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what you want to hear. We've got the resident expert now. I'm sure there's people that may know more, but this is my expert. This is my guy. So that's all you need to know in that regard. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we last left you, we had just seen on Twitch the first of its kind from WWE Twitch stream for a debuting wrestler faction. And that was what we can now assume was Uncle Howdy going to therapy. Dyson, what did you think of WWE using other platforms other than the common used platforms like Twitter and Instagram? How do you feel about them using Twitch? And then followed after that, WhatsApp. What did you think about this?
I thought it was very innovative. The way they utilize different social media platforms that aren't like the norm, I guess you could say, that everybody's on. They have these profiles. They want the engagement. So how do we get that? Let's put something that people are really engaged with on there. And I thought it was a really smart move on their part, business wise.
I would have to agree to that sentiment. I mean, I barely use Twitch as is, and I don't know if that's going to get me slack with my fellow podcasters, my content creators. I'm trying to understand Twitch, man. I might be in my late 20s, but man, I still don't understand how half this stuff works, let alone my own recording software that I use to do this podcast. So Dyson, he's right there with me, but it was so cool to go on Twitch and for that time and watch these therapy sessions, with Howdy and this therapist. And then obviously we found out that she was missing from the QR codes, which by Dyson's count, we were at a total of 16 QR codes in about the 3 months of the teases we saw. Is that count fairly close to?
Yeah, between all the Raws, the SmackDowns, and the pay-per-views, and we had one NXT that a QR code flashed up on. I mean, there had to have been at least 16, 17.
Had to be. Yeah, I agree. There was a lot, and it was a lot to keep track of overall. So we navigate from where we left you guys with that first Twitch stream, and then we pivot into the WhatsApp. So there was WhatsApp. Go on WWE's WhatsApp. They posted pictures. Uncle Howdy posted pictures to notify people to go on Twitch for round 2 of the Uncle Howdy Twitch streams. And Dyson, tell the people what happened in round 2 of those Twitch streams.
So you're talking about the where we see him writing the notes, correct?
Yes, sir. The notes.
Okay, so I mean, if I'm remembering correctly, because it's been quite a while since I watched the that full Twitch stream. I mean, we had him writing the letters to each member, it seemed, of the Wyatt Sicks. And that was something that we kind of see, like in each QR code, it seemed like he was kind of delivering these messages to each person. So we get to kind of see stuff that happened before the QR codes that we see put together and, flashed on Raw and SmackDown, which was very interesting. It was almost like a prequel to everything, showing how we get to where we are.
It was different because we were seeing things out of context and out of place. And then as we progressed through this, we started to see the things that we saw at the beginning were actually towards the end of what the progression of the story was. And the things we saw at the end were actually how things started. So it was very interesting how they kind of stretched everything out, kind of split it up. And then what I think was kind of the ultimate crown jewel of this whole thing was the QR code that took us to the journal website, where there was a bunch of missing journal entries. And Dyson himself actually kind of hit me up, when this dropped, and had said, look, if you look at it, the beginning of those journal entries are the words of Red or Bray Wyatt. And then as you get kind of into the second portion of it, after a specific journal entry, then it was Howdy's words and his kind of message and him following and fulfilling the prophecy of the Red. Do you think that journal entry is kind of what solidified us in knowing who was involved, or you think it still added that element of mystery where we kind of were still like, maybe, maybe not? And what did you think about the journal entries?
I definitely think once we got to the points of the journal entries where it was like Howdy talking, it gave us a little bit of insight to who they decided to choose, or he decided to choose, I should say, for the group. I loved the journal entries. I thought the way it was structured, it is theory that, the first half is Bray and the second half is Howdy, but I think it's a very strong theory and something to really look into. Definitely the way it's written, it seems like that, knowing that from the Bray Wyatt documentary, which I actually just rewatched yesterday, actually, knowing that Uncle Howdy was a nightmare that he had as a kid, the way the first half of that is written seems very much like a kid, writing about his nightmare and then kind of going through and kind of experiencing this crazy process. So I thought that was very innovative and interesting. And then for it to end where it ended and it kind of talk about us fans, Bo Dallas as the human and his family and everybody, mourning Bray's loss, and the way that journal entry kind of stuck with me and was like, wow, like that's very interesting the way they did that, and then it goes right into Uncle Howdy, and there was like two different purposes, which kind of told me one has to be Bray and one has to be Howdy.
Yeah, he's spot on. And then, as we kind of progress, right? So, this is all happening all at once, right? We're going week in, show after show. We're getting QR codes. Now we get to, I'd say we're probably effectively Clash at the Castle at this point, right? And we get another QR code. But now things are not the same, right? We have a recapitulation QR code that puts all of the QR codes on one with additional content. Now there's additional journal entries added in connection with the new QR codes. So there's something new on each website to discover. And then we get to Clash, right? And we're all thinking potentially this is the day, right? And the Clash at the Castle happens. There's a QR code, and they start to get more intense, and it becomes a countdown, right? We get the countdown about a week before Clash, the Monday Night Raw before Clash. We get the countdown, and it tees up to Monday, June 17th, 2024, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the timer is set to expire. So during that time, additional journal entries are added. Pictures of what we can only assume are the drawings of the Wyatt Sicks are added. There's a new puzzle that's added, and Dyson actually helped me solve this one. And it asked, how do you feel about your brother's death, right? It was something very like,
yeah, it was how did you feel when your brother died? And I thought
died.
that
It
was super heavy.
intense,
Super
heavy stuff. And that's the one thing I will credit to them. They're not afraid to acknowledge the fact that, hey, Bray passed away, but he's still here with us, right? And I think that's what makes this all the more fulfilling for fans and the family and the talent who loved Bray, is because they're keeping him throughout this whole thing. He's not been forgotten at all. I don't think we'll ever be able to forget the impact that Bray Wyatt Wyndham Rotunda had on professional wrestling, let alone people's lives. And I think that element of it really adds to this. Would you say that?
Absolutely. I think, I mean, this is everything that, they're talking about, keeping Bray's legacy alive and stuff. So I think it's phenomenal.
And we have seen a lot of critics out there since the debut has happened, since the QR code started. People, oh, this is, it's copy paste, or oh, this is not going to work because it's Bo, or oh, this creatively this won't work. Like, a lot of people need to fuck off.
Exactly. Let them
in that
talk. You
regard.
know what I'm saying?
That's how I feel about it. Let them do the talk, and they can talk out their ass all they want. But because 95% of fan reception, dare I say 98%, was extremely positive and welcoming of this.
I'll go
Now,
one step further and say 99.5 or
there you go.
99.9. It's been a very, very small minority
Very
of,
small.
of crowd that's not on board, So, like I said, let them talk, because their mouths will be shut real soon. Uncle Howdy will make sure that their mouths are shut. The Wyatt
Uncle
Sicks
Howdy.
will.
If a massacre has to come to them, let it be to them,
Exactly.
because I know
Let it happen.
Howdy and the gang, we're safe, man. They're like, hey, top notch, Malinois with Mike, you can hang with us. Don't worry, we'll spare
Oh
you
yeah.
this go around.
Oh yeah.
So now we get to Clash, and some crazy shit happens at Clash at the Castle, but nothing out of the ordinary, right? We get some QR codes, the countdown's still timing, but now the countdown gets more intense. A massacre is coming. It's inevitable. We start seeing it. The countdown has now ended, and we are now at Monday Night Raw from Corpus Christi, Texas. WWE Raw opens up with the normal video package, but it glitches out. I thought we were going to kick off WWE Raw this past week with Howdy and the group, but that's not how things start. The whole night, there are teases and there are QR codes, and there's even some Easter eggs in the background of segments. The Pluto logo was behind Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. We saw Rambling Rabbit in the closet of the Alpha Academy. We saw Huskus, the pig boy, Abby the Witch, and Mercy the Buzzard, all in backstage segments throughout WWE programming.
I'm getting goosebumps right now. I'm getting goosebumps as you're saying it, dude. Like, it's crazy. Chills. You know what I'm saying?
Chills.
Give me the Rock meme. Chills. Because, dude, I mean, I can't sit here and lie. 3 hours of Raw sometimes is a stretch to get through, right?
It's
like,
tough.
Can we all agree here?
Oh yeah, I agree. Some weeks it's tough.
It really is. And I can be the first one to admit I don't watch everything all the time each week. You know what I'm saying? Just because it is a lot. So I found that this week, in particular, they were able to capture my attention for all 3 hours. And I must say it's because of the Wyatt Sicks. You know what I'm saying? Me being a super fan of Bray and Bo and Howdy and all of this, the whole nine, I really wanted to see what was going to happen. And as you said, the intro started and it was glitching, and I was like, oh, we're getting started like immediately, and it just had me on the edge of my seat the whole time, because I thought they might be sprinkled in like throughout. And technically they were. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was very, very interesting how they did that, how they kind of sprinkled the puppets in throughout the show to kind of like almost foreshadow, like, yo, they're showing up and this is what you're going to kind of see, but you're going to see it in a whole different way. And I mean, it was chilling, to see the puppets in the background, while everybody's just kind of doing their thing. It was kind of like back in the day, like when Bray first introduced the Funhouse and the puppets were popping up in the background. Like, you know what I'm saying? It brought me back to those times. So it was cool.
This was well executed in the preemptive debut of establishing what's going on in backstage, right? How many different shots did we get of backstage on Raw this past Monday that typically maybe we wouldn't necessarily get, but especially considering when Drew McIntyre quits, they follow him back into the gorilla position to show us, look who's here. Like, they showed us everyone who was in gorilla. They showed everybody who was in the immediate area of backstage as soon as you part gorilla, that hallway, right? And that was all due in part to show you that things were completely normal as business would go day to day It was a normal business day for WWE, for Raw that night. Nothing out of the ordinary at that current moment, which I thought was such a great detail when it comes to telling this story that we're going to get into at the end of Raw.
Absolutely.
What did you think about that? Them showing us Gorilla in its entirety and everything just normal business. And then in an hour later, it is way different.
I saw some chatter on Twitter where people were saying maybe they had been priming us, showing like the normalcy and how regular, Gorilla looks on a day to day, as you said. And when I saw that, it made me think, well, think about how long they've been doing that, since this new camera crew kind of took over and we see these new shots in WWE, we've been getting a lot more Gorilla shots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, have they been priming us for months to see like what Gorilla looks like and how normal it looks going from, even before you get to Gorilla and then going through it and then going through the curtain to see like, or to show us like, hey guys, this is what it looks like, for then boom, when they show up and everything looks, in disarray and bodies are stacked and yada yada. We'll get into that, but like for it to look the way it looked when they showed up, I think they were priming us for a long time to see that chaos that they were going to cause in that room.
See, you bring up a valid point because, to be honest, that's been truth. Like, there's been a lot more of bleeding the production through Gorilla because that's like the sacred position in pro wrestling, right? There's been a big stigma about it, in WWE. We really didn't see camera shots in Gorilla. Every once in a while during Vince, there would be, a little segment here or there, or maybe an interview right before they go out the curtain, but never like the full encapsulation of it. And I think Dyson's spot on. I think they've been priming us this whole time to show you, look how normal this is. And now look how way unnormal, weird, scary this has become. Because after everything is said and done, ladies and gentlemen, main event Jey Uso qualifies for Money in the Bank. The Fireflies go in the air. Everyone is speculating, Jey Uso's finished for. He's done. He's over. He stole the Fireflies, and they're mad about it. But it's not Jey Uso that is targeted, ladies and gentlemen. It's Chad Gable after we see one of the coolest, eeriest, goosebump-inducing debuts of a faction, and dare I say the last 10 years, Dyson. I know we've had a lot of great factions in 10 years. The Shield just outside of that 10-year mark. You had Nexus up there. Obviously the Bloodline is up there, the New Day, but nothing to the level that we've seen before with this and the Wyatt Sicks, as they are now referred to. And I like that they did Sicks as in Sicks, because it's a play on words. They're sick individuals, and there's 6 of them if you count the spirit of Bray Wyatt. What was your immediate reaction when you saw what we now know as Abby the Witch crawl out of the door, see the lantern, see the door, it open, and here she comes? Take us back.
Man, I mean, even before that, like, I'm on Twitter and I kind of got a little spoiled, which I probably shouldn't have been on Twitter while watching Raw.
I do it for live tweeting purposes, but
yeah, I was just, following the Uncle Howdy hashtag and saw a fan, photo of the fact that they were setting up some kind of a setup by the entranceway, and it was the door. And I was like, okay, let me get off of Twitter now. All right. Cause clearly they are showing up, you know what I'm saying? But let me not spoil myself. So, like you said, Jey Uso qualifies. He's in the crowd doing his thing, yeeting all over the place. And, yeah, let's all eat together.
He's eating all over the place. He's eating on himself. He's eating on the people. Yeet everywhere.
Yeet everywhere. Exactly.
Oh my God.
And man, when the Fiend, like, light shutdown started, oh man, like chills, brother, chills. Like just seeing that again on the screen was just like, wow, like here we go. You know what I'm saying? And then when Shatter started, hearing the pop of the crowd, seeing the fireflies, all around the crowd, like it was just such a sight to see. It was almost like, you felt like Bray was about to walk out. You know what I'm saying? And when you see that door, I thought that was a very, very great callback, not only to Bray's entrance, when he had returned, but, to the return, because that was the door he walked through when he came back, and when that door flew open and Abby the Witch started crawling out, and I will call her Abby the Witch because that was not Nikki Cross. Man, like, just like getting vibes of like The Ring and getting vibes of like The Conjuring and all kinds of different movies that I love as a kid growing up. Probably movies that I probably shouldn't have been watching at the age that I was, but all the horror movies that I love, seeing like kind of the inspiration in that, kind of Exorcist like, I was just like blown away. I was captivated. I was like, all she needed to do was just turn around and do the spider walk like Bray, and I would have been like, I would have fell out of my chair, man. But I had chills, dude, the whole time. Not to ramble on too much. They'll be calling me Rambling Rabbit next.
Ramble on, ramble, please, because I feel the same way, man. It was awe. Like I was just, whoa, like look at her go. Like she fucking nailed it. She
totally locked
nailed
in
those mannerisms. She nailed the creep factor. Like Dyson said, like The Ring, The Conjuring, The Exorcist, like put all into one to create, that mask. And I think the craziest part about her mask is I feel like it's her face repaired with kintsugi, right? That Japanese art of repairing with gold. It looks like it's her face with cracks, and it's like got these like gold and black lines through it, right? Like it almost feels uncanny valley, or like it's super extra creepy. I think it makes it feel almost.
Yeah, definitely. I love the teeth. That was something that I really loved. The like gritty, like crusty looking teeth. I was like, ooh, that's so like creepy. You know what I'm saying? Like just all kinds of different elements. I was getting like Hills Have Eyes kind of, feels and stuff, like just so many different like inspirations. I mean, Jason Baker is a mastermind when it comes to horror. I mean, being a student of Tom Savini, like, come on, he's gonna knock everything horror out of the park. So, I'm not surprised, but I was blown away at how awesome it looked.
Dude, I like this. This was literally like watching a horror movie. Like that's the only way I can describe it. Like without having like a pre-recorded cinematic take, like a IE Boneyard match or a Matt Hardy's compound match. Like this was as close to a live horror film you could see. Like that's how scary it was. Now Abby the Witch, she points us to the backstage. Now, we don't officially go through the door. We kind of go around the door. And which kind of, to me, in my mind, signifies that this does, in fact, happen in our reality. It does not happen in their reality. Would you agree to that?
Yeah.
Because I don't think the cameraman ever officially walked through the door. They walked kind of around the door.
Yeah, they walked around the side. And I do think that's a fair assessment to say, like, because they didn't walk through the door, that it was showing us like reality,
right.
But it also makes me ask, excuse me, I did it there. Abby came through the door. So what does that mean?
Right. That's
like,
that's the puzzling part.
Yeah.
So like, is she the one that, leads the masses, right? She came out to the lantern. And if we are looking at this, there's only 5 of them, right? And we know the 6th is Bray, the spirit of Bray, the words of Bread. So, she's coming out to the allure of Bray's words speaking to her. We're
Definitely
in the right ballpark there, right?
I think so, yes.
So now we round the corner, Dyson. And what a sight to behold here. We have the physical embodiment now of Rambling Rabbit. And as we're talking about this, You'll see the images on the video side. On the audio side, I will do my best to describe what I'm witnessing, and it is a big man with a big hammer and the scariest rabbit mask that I could ever describe to you. And the coolest part, I thought, was the shout outs to the Exalted One, Brody Lee, who we also lost tragically 4 years ago. It'll be this October, 4 years, right? Oh my goodness. It's been that long.
Yeah. Yep. December. But
Yeah,
yeah.
December. Was it December?
Yeah.
It'll be 4 years this fall. Wow, this winter.
It's
So
crazy.
Eric Rowan, Luke Harper used to be known as the Bludgeon Brothers for a time, if you're not aware of it. And they had hammers and they had, basically like dead skull masks. What did you think about including the odes to Brody Lee here? I thought great touch with the hammer and the back of the mask being Luke Harper's old Bludgeon Brother mask.
I loved it. I loved every second. I mean, Brody was my, aside from Bray, my favorite in the Wyatt family. You know what I'm saying? So to see the tributes to him was really awesome. And I noticed there were some other tributes in there as well. He had some tributes to Bray on his stuff as well. Like he had the Wyatt family logo on the back of his vest there. So that was kind of like, a callback, not even just to Bray, but to the whole family. You know what I'm saying? Which I thought was
I didn't
really
even catch
cool.
that. Good catch. Good
Yeah,
catch.
yeah. I saw it, like I watched it a couple times, and that was where I caught it, like because I was like, I see something red on his back, like what is that? And then I stopped it. Boom! I was like, whoa, that's the Wyatt family logo. I also thought it was really interesting that in the Bray Wyatt documentary, we see the final creation of Bray, which is, the Fiend 2.0, and how that mask was the Fiend mask, upgraded in the front. And then he had the JoJo mask on the back that, Jason Baker said he would crawl forward and, yada, yada. The hair would flip forward and scare opponents that way. I thought it was very interesting that they did that with Rambling Rabbit's mask, doing the rabbit mask in the front and then Brody's mask in the back. I don't know if that was maybe an ode to Bray and the styling of how they did the mask, you know what I'm saying, while also doing an ode to Brody as well. But I thought that setup was cool,
And that's kind of where we get our first taste of the bodies and the carnage that it seems that the massacre that they promised us that was inevitable has come, because there is a stack of bodies to about Rowan's knees, and Rowan's a big man, so it's a pretty high stack. And we turn into the gorilla position, and that, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see on the video side, you'll see the image here. That is where things get intense. The lights are flickering. The TVs are flickering. Lights are falling. There's sparks. There's smoke everywhere. There's bodies amuck. There's blood on the walls. And in the corner, on a perch, like a bird would, there is the physical embodiment of Mercy, the buzzard, surveying the carnage that they have dealt out. I wish there was a way to know who handled what amount of this massacre, who was massacring who, but Mercy the Buzzard is looking out onto gorilla position. Everyone's speculating, oh my God, that's Triple H. Oh, it's Braun Strowman. Wait, that was Gunther. That was Carmelo Hayes. Turns out, ladies and gentlemen, it was none of those people. It was all extras, and it's exactly what I figured, right? When you looked at that the first time and after a few times watching it back, they all were just extras, right? I saw a couple NXT talents that have shown up on Level Up, but not anybody like immediate on the roster outside of Chad Gable.
Yeah, I didn't think anybody of note was attacked, because they would have made like more of a statement with that. They would have shown that person. If Triple H was down and attacked, if Bruce Pritchard was down and attacked. A lot of the time you hear stories how those guys, they leave the show once that main event hits. You know what I'm saying? At that point, they realize like show's kind of gone pretty good. Where we could head out and get to the next town, kind of thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
See it later. So for they wouldn't even be in the gorilla position at that point anyway, from what we all know, from reports and things like that. So
right.
I didn't think that any of the executives, the top executives, were in there laid out. And then as far as like people saying Gunther and Carmelo and this one and that one, I was just like, why would they all be dressed in black if it was all of
Right.
those different people? Like, those are all different personalities. Yeah, Gunther dresses in the black, with his Euro swag and stuff. But like, but Carmelo,
Best way to put it.
yeah, for real. But Carmelo, he's real flamboyant with what he wears. Dirty Dom, I was hearing people saying
Yeah.
Dirty Dom
I
was
saw
laid out. I
Seth
was like,
Rollins. I
yeah,
was like,
Seth
guys,
Rollins.
none
I'm
of those
like,
people look like Seth.
yeah, like people, I guess people thought that the guy with the blood spewing out of his head was Seth Rollins. I don't know, but I'm like, last time I checked, Seth doesn't have braids. So,
No.
where are you
If
getting that, guys?
anything, the person who I thought was that person was, I thought it was one of the dudes from NXT, Tank
Hmm.
Walker. Hank and
Okay.
Tank from NXT, because he has shaved head, shaved
Hmm.
top, and then he has like a strip of hair that goes back to like the kind of the rat tail ponytail style. I thought it was
Yeah.
him at first because he kept his head down. You couldn't really see the facial expressions. But to be honest, I'm gonna assume just rather gathered talent as much as they could and told him, here's the situation. Get your ass on the wall. We're going to throw blood on you. Lay there for the next 35 minutes and keep your mouth shut. Because
Hmm.
that's what I would. That's like if I was a WWE employee, I'd be like, yo, I want to be a dead body. Like, can
Yeah,
I? Like, please?
exactly.
Like, I want to be a part of this. So I'm sure it
Exactly.
was probably production, wrestlers, tired talent, things like that. So now Mercy the Buzzard is surveying everything, and now we walk back to that very hallway we saw Adam Pearce and Triple H try to tell Drew not to quit WWE, and it is transformed. There's more bodies. Huskus, the pig boy, has come to life, and he's there with a gas mask, pig-inspired mask, which looked incredible. Mercy the Buzzard's mask looked incredible. They all looked incredible. And then we get the pan to Chad Gable, who looks like he took a boing to the brain. I don't know if I
They
can
murked
say
that man.
I don't know if what I can say on YouTube or whatever without getting I wouldn't say canceled, but like getting the TVMA stamp on my
Yeah, we
video.
don't we
This is
don't want
not
any
made for
stamps.
kids.
No
This
strikes.
is not made for kids, and this is probably not made for the elderly either. I think we curse far too much for the elderly listener. They're gripping their pearls. Listen, I lost it. Listen, so Chad Gable's dead. Mans is gone. And the beautiful image that can only be described as a painting of pure horror. Uncle Howdy is revealed, and he looked incredible. I don't even know. Like, I thought, Dyson, when I tell you this, I thought it was Bray
Yeah.
for a minute there. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's not. That's Bo. That's Taylor. I was like,
Hmm.
they changed the Uncle Howdy mask. Agree?
Yes. They
It
definitely did.
looks way more like Bray's face than it did before. Agree?
Dude, I was thinking that like there were times when he was walking in the shadows
And
and
doing the
the way his face looked in the shadow, it almost looked like Bray's silhouette with the dreads and everything, and the way the top hat was, it was a shorter top hat, almost kind of looked like a fedora in a way, in certain ways, the way the brim was flipped. So like the certain angles that they got, it was very interesting the way like he did really look like Bray, and I was like, wow, man. Like, I wonder if they did that purposefully, like if they maybe casted Bray's face, or took a cast that they had of his face and kind
that's what
of
I'm
made it
thinking.
that way so that like in the shadows he kind of looks like Bray, because like, and you kind of, said this earlier, but we both are under the impression that the sixth member is the spirit of Bray. And I think not only does Bray's spirit lie in the lantern, but I think Bray's spirit is inside of Uncle Howdy as well. You know what I'm
Great
saying?
point.
So he may take on mannerisms of Bray at the time, or at times he may sound like Bray because this was the first time we heard Uncle Howdy use his actual voice.
Voice.
So like if he's gonna start cutting promos to explain his actions and the group's actions, well then, hey, we may start getting some little Bray Wyatt Southern twang, from like the old school Bray Wyatt. You know what I'm saying? Because Bo does a really really good
He
like
does a very
cult leader
good.
Bray. So
He does a very good impression. I'm glad you brought that up. The B Team, that
absolutely,
episode, people know that
yeah.
he did a they did a parody of Bray and the Wyatt family a few years back, and he
I think it was like
nailed that Bray
2017
Wyatt.
or 18, something like that. Popped
Nailed
Bray
it.
real good too in the ring. You see him start to crack.
He's
I thought that
cracking,
was
dude.
really,
He had the
I thought that was
biggest like
really cool.
smile.
Yeah,
So Uncle Howdy, I agree, man. They altered the look of Howdy. He looks menacing. He looks fierce, scary, creepy. He's wearing the jacket that the Fiend was supposed to wear. If you watched the documentary, I saw that pointed out on
so
Twitter.
little thing about that. What I noticed, sorry to cut you off,
Shoot.
is it's not the exact jacket. So, or
No?
and if it is, then they've added to it. I think they want to keep that fiend intact, you know what I'm saying, for showcase reasons. So I
Sure.
don't think they would have used that exact jacket. Also, that
Similar.
jacket was a tailcoat, whereas this one is more of
Mm,
like a shorter jacket with like some things like hanging down, almost like I don't know, like rags, or towel
yeah.
kind of deal, like tassels in a way. Um, but I think as like a tribute, they took that like kind of ruffled, almost like
Yeah.
snakeskin like pattern and did something with it. Cause like now, like Howdy's jacket has like these buckles on it, like these like, belt buckle kind of things that go
Yeah.
all the
Very
way
similar
down
to
the
like the
arms.
Fiend's old jacket, right?
Exactly. Kind of like that. So it's not the exact jacket, but it's definitely inspired by it, which I thought was really cool.
And what did you think about now? Uncle Howdy has the dreads. He has the dreads like Bray used to have.
Perfect touch.
Another symbolism, another ode to Bray and his look. I can't say it enough, guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing it. Maybe I just miss him so much. But the mask, it looks like they really did model that on Bray's face potentially, and I'm sure they have those molds available because how many different masks were molded for Bray over those years. Even
Yep.
even the mask Bray was wearing in 2022 when he came back, that almost like copper looking mask was his face, but
Yeah,
like
the
more
Howdy mask.
enunciated. The Howdy mask, right?
Hmm.
So it looks he looks incredible. I love the details. I'm sure you notice it. Every member of the family has the circle on them in some aspect of their character. Huskis has it,
Except Abby. We haven't
except
found it
Abby.
on
That's
Abby.
true. I didn't see the circle on Abby. Uh, Rambling had it on the hammer. Uh, Huskis had it on the gas mask, the nose. Dexter had it, or I should say, Mercy had it on the jacket, on the backside. It also looked like they were wearing a Hawaiian shirt under that.
Hmm.
So to see the puppets come to life twice now. Now this is the second time we've seen them come to life. We saw them originally in Bray's Return, but they were the cartoon version, kind of ripped right from the Funhouse. But now they are dead, possessed, creepy, horror, almost like Mad Max esque. Like I maybe it's not the right movie, but like they're more rooted in psychotic tendency than they are possibly supernatural. But I think
I'm
that
I'm
supernatural
thinking
element is still there.
I'm thinking like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like that's the vibe that I get
That's the
when I
vibe.
see them. Like seeing them all together, in the different shots that we've seen now. Like that's the vibe I get. Or like that movie Wrong Turn. With the
Oh,
cannibal family. Like that kind of creepy, like you said, psychotic, not so supernatural. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the supernatural element comes from Howdy's mind and not so much
right.
like they're trying to portray that in real life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I agree 100%. And I think this is going to be something that we'll remember forever. I think this would be kind of a thing where we're like, little Mike, little Dyson, hey, check this out. Look, this is what we were watching. If
yep.
wrestling's still a thing in, however many years it takes for little versions of ourselves to come popping around. Um, Now everything happens. Uncle Howdy, he struts through so cool. Like I wish I was as cool as him, man. His movements are so fluid. He's just so like, I don't even
He
know how to
he's
describe it. Like,
he's more confident now. Like it's very interesting. I watched like a compare and contrast kind of way, watching the Howdy walk from this week and then how he came out, from the first time. And I was just like, wow, like you can see like the first time it was almost like he was like taken aback, like, by being back out in front of the fans again the way he was, and like, trying to find his footing, like as that character. He didn't know it just yet. Maybe he did know where they were going with it, but like, to actually be in the role, and live and rolling, like it seemed like he was still finding his footing. And then to
right,
see like the confidence that he just exude. I mean, everybody uses the word now. I think it's kind of been like a hot word to use, aura. The
aura.
aura that he like displayed, that was radiating through the TV, as like he like had his arms spread out and dropped them. You know what I'm
Just
saying? He's walking towards the camera. Corey Graves said it was like magical in that
it
moment.
was.
And then like we almost had a Shockmaster moment. I would like to
I
point that
thought
out.
I did see that.
I
He did
was
take a little.
like,
He like tripped over one of
stu-
like the dead bodies, right? Yeah, I saw that. I didn't
he
want to
stumbled.
point
I
it
was like,
out.
wait. I was like, whoa. I'm trying to like use the force over here. Like,
Yeah, I was like,
wait,
just stay up.
don't
I
fall
got.
over.
I was like, oh no. I also thought maybe he did that on purpose at first, just because like there's so many bodies, like that
Yeah.
was like to sell the hey, there's a body, I'm stepping on bodies type
And
vibe.
what's interesting is if that was like on purpose, dude, what psychology to have to say like
Right,
the carnage that they caused, like I'm tripping over bodies
tripping over the
here. You
bodies.
know what I'm
Whew.
saying? Like that's crazy. Um Something like I'm like a little things kind of guy, and so like I've watched this like so many times as you can imagine, and like
Oh,
just
me
kind of
too.
really studying the little things, and like just looking at like the way he walks past each member and looks at them, kind of gives them a smile. You know what I'm saying? Like follow me, brother. Kind of thing. I
It was
thought
so
that was
cool.
really cool, really cool touches that they did. And then like man, watching him essentially make the Wyatt family entrance, do the Wyatt family entrance. And like I was talking about how I had just watched the Bray Wyatt documentary,
Hmm.
um, and he was talking about at a point in that documentary where he had saw the Bray Wyatt entrance in the crowd like for the first time at MSG in like 2015, he was saying, and just the feeling that he had, he was like, damn, like, I wish I could experience something like that, in a way, like that feeling from the crowd. And knowing that he had, felt like that, and then rewatching, the debut and stuff like that, I go, damn, man, he got that moment.
He did.
And unfortunately, it wasn't with Bray, but he got that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like he got to experience that, turn around the corner how they used to do, and see all the fireflies like
It's
as you pan around the entire arena kind of thing. And he got to feel that, and that was powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I can only imagine the emotions that he felt in that moment as he stands with his new family around him in front of the crowd for the first time with the lantern. This isn't the face of Bray lantern. This isn't the Fiend lantern. This is the
Yeah.
original lantern of Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. That original lantern, the iconic one, right? And he hits us with the we're here and blows out the lantern, and Raw ends just like that with that last visual of Abby the Witch flashing on our screens. And Dyson, I don't think this could have been executed any better. The only way I would say it could have been executed better is if Bray had been here with it to see it debut. Outside of that, I don't think there was a better way to do this. Do you have any notes or anything that like you thought they could have done better in this? Because I personally, I don't think I have any notes,
So
any gripes.
off the jump, first seeing it, I was like, no, I don't have, like, it was perfect, and I still believe it's perfect. Um, But after watching it a couple times, I was like, I started to have like what ifs. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So like, what if like when like they got us so like used to hearing the Nightbird song. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought, maybe that would be like a way that they would have kind of let the crowd know, like, yo, here they are.
Here
I
they
thought
are.
using the first note of Bray's theme song was very, very cool and very sinister as well. Gave it a
Hmm.
horror feel. But it started making me wonder, like, what if they had introduced this completely separate from like that part of a tribute to Bray, if that makes sense. If they came out to their own thing,
Right.
the Nightbird song, and it's like, oh, like we heard this from the QR codes and stuff, because even though, yeah, like we on the social media space know like what they've been seeing in the dark segments, which is the Nightbird and,
Right.
the lights flickering and stuff, the TV audience, like, us viewing at home, we don't know about that, until we see it online. So they had kind of had the song in the QR codes, and I thought it would have been interesting if they had came out to the Nightbird piano riff,
Yeah.
if anything. But I understood the power of using the first note of Shatter instead of the Nightbird song, because that would have to people would have to go, what is this? Or some people might go, who is this? Like, what's going
Right.
on? You know what I'm saying? As opposed to hearing that first note and going, oh, they're
And
here.
then
You know
registering
what
it.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think
I get
that
you.
was probably like the only thing like I was thinking of, is like, what if they had used different music? But in terms of like the layout of everything and how they revealed everybody, it couldn't have been more perfect. Like I
Hmm.
think everybody who was like on board with the production of that, like, all the members themselves, like they should all have like hats tipped off to them, because the way that they set that up was crazy, for it to be one singular shot, one camera.
Yep.
They didn't do a single cut or anything, and it was seamless. Like I didn't feel like taken out of it at any point. So I think they get a huge kudos for that.
Oh, absolutely. And they gave us essentially like the horror shot, like, right? Like it's like they pointed the camera backstage.
Hmm.
Abby tells the cameraman, go that way. And the cameraman follows and then rambling points them to Gorilla. Mercy points them around the corner, and then there's Howdy, and then Howdy follows them back out, forces them back through so that they can catch everything on the way out. And executed 10 out of 10. I'll agree. I think the Nightbird song would have been a nice touch. I did like the Shatter shout, which I thought it made sense. I think Nightbird is going to come down the line. I think that'll be probably
I hope
something that
so.
they'll weave in.
Yeah.
So we've got a little bit of time left. So let's get into these. Let's get into some crazy theories, Dyson. So everything has been said and done. That they've massacred everyone. They attacked Chad Gable specifically, and now on SmackDown Friday night they recapped it. They did not show up, but their logo was backstage and Cody Rhodes did walk past it. So they were technically there, but they recapped everything and they showed us what we already knew. Abby, Nikki Cross's character is Abby the Witch. Dexter is Mercy. Joe is Huskus. Rowan is Rambling. Howdy is Howdy. What we don't know is the reasoning of Chad Gable. And my theory is because he mistreated his family, and Howdy stands with his family, and that is family comes first for Howdy, and he feels Chad doesn't deserve or is unwilling to have his family because of the way he's treated them. And they kind of flash that up during the recap over Chad Gable's face, kind of like translucent of him yelling at the Alpha Academy. So
Hmm.
do you think that I'm in the ballpark? Am
I
I,
think
am I hitting a
you're
home run with this
100%
one?
right. Home run, run around the bases. You could do it 6 times, because you see what I did there.
I like it. I like
Because
it. I like it.
I think you're right on the money, man. I think the way he's mistreated the Alpha Academy up to this point, um, has him and Uncle Howdy's sights. You know what I'm saying? I've got my sight. I've got you in my sights. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Facts.
I think Chad Gable messed up, bullying
Oh,
the Alpha Academy, and
he
then like
done.
the nerve of him Monday night. you know, to scream, we're supposed to be a family, we're supposed to be a
That's as
family, after
soon as
you
he
just
said that.
berated them, dude, like, are you crazy? Like, nobody's gonna love you after that. You know what I'm saying? I
Oh,
thought there was a
absolutely.
bunch of different times with Chad when he was on screen where he was going to probably get abducted. I thought like there was a point where when he was in the ring screaming, we're supposed to be a family, they did
I
this
thought it was
wide shot of him standing in the center of the ring. And I was like, yo, are they about to come kidnap him? Like
so.
that would have
Yo,
been,
that wide shot was purposely because if you go back and watch in the top right corner of the arena, Howdy was watching half of Raw.
so bro, I don't know if that was
You
Howdy.
don't know if that was them?
I don't
I
think
saw a
that was
top hat.
Howdy.
The guy had a top hat. I was convinced.
I was seeing all those different, shots that
You
people were
saw
saying,
that
oh,
too?
he was there. And like after seeing the silhouette of Howdy with the dreads, I'm like,
Nah.
unless he was changing his appearance, like I don't think that was him.
Okay.
But
I
I
respect that.
thought I thought they were going to kidnap
Take his ass.
Chad. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. But yeah, to see Chad mistreat the family like that, or what he called family, you don't treat family like that if you truly love them. Uncle Howdy's gonna teach him that, I think. And
Exactly.
that's what I think that's what his motive behind going after Chad is to teach him that lesson. And then the Alpha Academy may have left him and they won't put up with his crap anymore, but I think Chad will come back knowing how to treat his new family, which is going to be the
Mm,
Creed brothers and Ivy Nile, I think,
of course.
and form, the new
Team
team
Angle.
Angle, and I
Team
can't wait for
Gable.
that. That's what I'm saying. Team Gable, bro. Like I'm ready, willing, and
Ready,
Gable.
willing, Gable. Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I'm
That's my
ready for
dude
that,
right
man.
there. Listen, so I'll be real with you. Chad, good first victim. This is going to do great things for him.
Hmm.
This is going to be a great establishment for the Howdy group. Now, what theories do you have? And I have my big theory that maybe I was took a too many puffs off of the you know what, the peace pipe one night. I was
uh,
sitting here last night. I was thinking some things when I was watching SmackDown. The gold standard Shelton Benjamin may have been involved. Not to be used with Shelton Benjamin. Shelton
mm,
Benjamin. Catch
uh-huh.
my drift where I'm going with
Okay,
that,
yeah,
right? The
yeah,
pen,
yeah,
Benjamin.
yep.
It's a gold. It's a
I'm
gold
liking it.
pen.
I'm liking it.
It's a gold pen. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
picking up what you're putting
Shelton
down.
Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin. You know what I'm saying?
The gold
Um,
standard.
so I have my big theory, and I'm gonna put it through you, see how you're spitting on it. But I want to hear your theories here. What do you think? How do we progress next? Like, how do you think this plays out? And we'll wrap it up in a few.
I mean, honestly, I've got some wild theories that are probably gonna like not really work out in reality just because, certain people are already in storylines and things like that. But like, I would love for them to attack people like Dominic Mysterio, to attack people like Carmelo Hayes, all these different people that have turned their backs on their friends and family. You know what I'm saying? And like, even not even just to like have matches with them, but like, do something with them to where kind of like what hopefully we get with Chad Gable. They took him out and now he's gonna come back different. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
gonna come
Most
back
likely.
very different.
So, I think that would be interesting. And then to see how those characters play off of each other and interact once that character comes back different, you know, but that's just kind of like a dream scenario of mine that, because I'm even thinking like Solo Sokoa,
Oh,
you sit there and you say to yourself, like, look at what Paul Heyman's done for Roman Reigns in the bloodline. You know what I'm saying? And then for Solo to kind of like beat him around, not physically,
mm-hmm.
but, like emotionally and
Mentally
mentally
and
and stuff like
emotionally.
that. For him to treat Paul like that with how much Paul has done for the bloodline, just because he's drunk with power and wants to take over, I think he's a prime candidate for a Howdy attack and a Wyatt
I
Sicks
think
attack.
I think that's
Um,
good. That's a good idea, man.
to be
I
completely
think down the
honest,
line.
here's my ultimate theory though. I know you said we're running short on time.
No, we're good. We got time.
My ultimate theory though is that they are going to go after Cody, and for a couple
Mm,
of different reasons. Not for the title, but because
no.
Cody was Bray's pro when he was Husky Harris, number one, and then number two, because Cody's a liar. Because
Yep.
Cody wants to put on this mask like he's this all-time big baby face, you know what I'm saying? As The Rock used to say, kissing babies and hugging fat people. And
Right.
and you know, and I think, you know, I think Cody's real colors are gonna show. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's up to Howdy and the Wyatt Sicks to uncover, you know, those true colors of Cody. I think it'll take an attack from them to turn Cody heel.
Interesting. I
Because
am in the department that Cody will never turn heel, but if that is the device that is used, I'm okay with that. I think that's a money way to do it.
look, I'm just gonna say it. Undertaker said, and I'm a huge Undertaker fan. Undertaker said that the real money with Cody is gonna be in his heel turn, and I couldn't agree more. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that Cody heel turn because we never got it in
We
AEW.
never
He
did.
wanted to resist it, and he did ultimately technically turn heel by
He
not
did.
turning heel. But I want an official Cody Rhodes heel turn, him turning his back on the fans in WWE.
Ooh.
I hope he doesn't get stuck in that John Cena slot because, you know, I think that was great for Cena, but to get stuck in that slot of you can never turn heel, you know, the Ricky the Dragon, you know, Steamboat spot kind of thing. I don't really think, you know, that's a good thing for Cody, you know, so
But I
I
mean, it
hope.
worked for Ricky. It worked for the Dragon, right? Did it? You know, obviously he never hit that next level, but I
Yeah.
think it worked for him. You know, when you look at
And,
like the line of work and the career he had, I think he did pretty well for himself without hitting that next level, right?
oh yeah, and I'm definitely not crapping on Ricky Steamboat. He's
Oh
one of
no,
my
I know that. No,
favorites.
yeah.
He's
Oh no.
he's one of my favorites,
Tell that, yeah,
and
that's
and
for the
one of
YouTube commenters because someone's gonna be
yeah.
like, they don't like Ricky the Dragon Steve.
Yeah, they're
Shut up.
gonna they're gonna jump all over that. But I think that Cody can show more range in the WWE. You know what I'm saying? He comes off as a heel, if I'm being completely honest. The expensive suits, you
Mm.
know, extremely elaborate vocabulary that hardly anybody can understand. Like, you know, it comes off so heelish and I'm better than you, you know, that like I'm like it's just right there. All we need is that like spark to ignite the fire, and I really think Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six could be that spark. So that's just me.
I like that. I like that theory. That's your main big theory right now. You're
Yeah,
thinking down
yeah,
the line as time comes, you know, as this year develops, Cody is the end game potentially.
definitely, or at least one of the bigger main event level
Event
superstars that they'll go
feuds.
after.
Okay.
Because I
I
think
like
I
that
think
theory.
they're due for Seth. You know, a Seth visit. They're due for a lot of visits with main event level talent. So
There's a few names on my list that I'll get into in a sec here, but I wanna kind of piggyback this off you. So I think I've ever told you this, but last summer, I should say spring, you know, I had started the podcast, you know, I was fresh onto it, and you know, we
mhm.
came into that section of like right after Backlash Puerto Rico. We weren't really sure what Cody Rhodes was doing. And I was like sitting there and I said it on my show. I was like, I think the next feud for Cody Rhodes is Bray Wyatt because Bray was Cody's rookie and Cody treated him like a piece of shit during that NXT run. And everything pointed to that being Cody's feud. And then Cody ended up feuding with Shinsuke Nakamura after Bray passed away. So to me personally, and I have no proof or way of knowing it, but I think that was what the goal was last year. I think he
I
was
saw
slotted
that.
in, right? You remember me
Yeah,
talking about that a year ago?
yeah, I remember you talking about that, and I remember liking all those posts and things like
Yep.
that when you were sharing it because like I completely agreed with you. You know, I thought that you know had Bray not fallen ill and things like that, that he was due for a story with Cody, and if not at that point, definitely at some point.
At some point. Yeah. Whatever the case may be, obviously, you know, I'll fantasy book all I want in my head. But my big theory, I posted this on
Yeah.
Twitter.
What are you thinking?
People were split on it. My good friends over at Booking Like a Mark, you know, they were worried about potentially people getting, you know, sucked out of one story in place of another story, you know, with the Alpha
Mhm.
Academy Chad Gable thing. I said, what since we've now seen the Firefly Funhouse puppets now come to life in their most demonic and scariest versions of themselves,
Mhm.
there's a need for puppets in the funhouse. So what if
Mhm.
by chance, you know, there's that supernatural element that comes into play here, I know, but what if by chance that anybody who is attacked by Howdy and the Wyatt Sicks, what if their soul, their conscious, their life force is been sucked from them and put into a puppet in the funhouse, a puppet version of them? What if next week on Monday Night Raw, Chad Gable, who has been medically cleared by Adam Pearce on social media this past week, by an Adam Pearce who looked like he was AI generated or had a gun held to his head. Adam Pearce has been going through it. He's been hacked numerous times on social media. His profile picture was changed to Postman Pearce from when he was the postman during the Bray Wyatt Funhouse segment when he was delivering the news of the triple threat for the Fiend for the Universal title, right? Dyson knows all this.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
telling
this
the people
is,
at home.
I actually just watched that.
Deep
Like
cuts.
literally,
It's
I
such
just
deep
watched
cuts.
it.
So Pierce is obviously affected by this group, and I think that's how they were able to get in the door because they took over Pierce.
I know
And I
one
think
thing.
Chad,
He needs to up his cybersecurity.
he does. My man needs to get two-factor authentication going on
Like,
ASAP.
what's
Get
he
that
doing,
code
man?
texted to you, my man. Like you're screwing up. So what if whoever they attack becomes a lifeless puppet in real life, and they are puppeted by Uncle Howdy? Right? We went through all the QR codes. The puppeteer, the strings have been cut. The strings of the puppets were cut. They're now in real life. They came through the door. We watched it happen. So it's a crazy theory, but what if they put the wrestlers' puppet versions in the funhouse, and then there's a real life puppet of Chad who doesn't say a fucking word. Chad comes out Monday on Raw, this next Monday, doesn't say a word. Wrestles his match. He's super weird. He barely wrestles, loses, and just walks to the back. What if that's the direction we're headed with this? No,
That's crazy.
maybe.
I mean, I think that'd be a crazy
theory.
idea. That'd be a crazy idea. Like, but I'm curious to kind of like go deeper into your theory. So, are you thinking that maybe we're gonna kind of get like a old school Firefly Funhouse, but just with new puppets? Do you think that Bo is gonna be like the new Mr. Rogers style like host, or is it gonna be Howdy? Like, what do you think?
That's where I'm kind of like, my theory kind of gets muddy, right? So it's like, okay, so we look at the Firefly Funhouse, we say, all right, we know that it's been in the QR codes, we know we've seen cuts of it in videos. Now we don't know if they're gonna reopen it, they're gonna go back, turn the lights on. Right now, all the puppets are in real life. So is there a need for a funhouse because the puppets are here, and technically this might be their funhouse now, right?
I think definitely. I think you're spot on with the puppet idea though. Like the idea of like they go after somebody and they like take their soul and like put it in a puppet or something like that. I think that would be crazy. I was thinking more of like along the lines of like the bone collector. You know what I'm saying? So like they kind of collect a puppet or make a puppet for each person they've attacked.
So like a voodoo doll type of vibe.
Exactly. And maybe they can make like edits to it and things like that, different modifications. And then you start seeing like new versions of this person and stuff. Because like what I saw, and I'm not sure if you saw this, I think Fightful reported it, but it's like the Wyatt Sicks, the people that they attack and the people who weren't like at Raw, everything has a meaning. Everything is strategically placed. So I'm like, that could very well be a way they go about it.
I think it would be absolutely nuts if one day we open up a Raw or a SmackDown and the Firefly Funhouse or some variation of it pops up, and here's Howdy or Bo, and he's like, hey guys, like the Funhouse has been lonely ever since the puppets, since I cut their strings and let them free. So we needed some new friends in the Funhouse, and here's, and little Chad Gable pops up on a little stuffed animal, and you're like, and Chad's like, help me, please, how am I here or something? And like, it's him like talking, but it's like a puppet of him, right? It's something that it's like such a high ass thought that like it could happen, to be honest, because this you have to think a certain level of outside of the box for this stuff. Like if you don't have an imagination, if you don't like to be entertained, if you don't like horror aspects, if you don't like psychological stuff, then this is not for you. But if you're a fan of all of those things and more, then this storyline, these theories, this video, it's all for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
We have talked an hour, and honestly, Dyson and myself probably could go another 2 more hours. We could do
Oh
a
yeah.
3-hour simulcast of Raw, just talking about Howdy and the Wyatt Sicks and our theories. Any last parting words you want to leave the people with here today, Dyson, about yourself, about Howdy, about anything we've discussed so far today? Let the people know where to find you. You know the deal.
You can find me at Dyson Bennett on all social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Uh, Parting words, I'll say, follow the leader.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Follow
Follow the
the
leader.
leader. Make sure you guys check out Dyson on all social media. Follow him. If you're on the East Coast, ladies and gentlemen, a man is an independent wrestler. So
Yes,
when
I
his
am.
next dates pop up, I always post him. He'll post them. Make sure you follow him. Check him out. Check out his matches on YouTube, social media. The guy is top notch for a reason. And I don't say that because he's one of my good brothers, always and forever. Too sweet. My man, that's what I love to see. Thank
Hell
you
yeah.
guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching this. I cannot wait to see what happens with the Wyatt Sicks. And once again, Dyson, thank you for coming on Mouthing Off with Mike, my
Thank you for
resident
having
Uncle Howdy expert.
me.
We're out of here, folks. Go out there and enjoy wrestling. We got a crazy weekend next week coming up of wrestling. We got Forbidden Door. Join me as I predict Forbidden Door with good brother Derek the Devastator of Derek's Toy Show on YouTube. And then the following week, we've got Money in the Bank, Heat Wave, and I'm sure Dyson will be included in all those conversations over the next couple of weeks. So make sure you follow me at MOWM_podcast. Follow me as we are moving to Boom Broadcasting as well. You'll see me on Boom Broadcasting. I'll link that in the description of this episode with Michael Davis. There's a lot of things happening. And ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't be happier to have you with me for the ride. Let's get out of here. Go enjoy wrestling. From me and Dyson, much love. Let them in.